Jeremy Pruitt with a $100 million lawsuit against the NCAA makes some strong mentions about Tennessee, how they were already cheating beforehand and he was a scapegoat. What do you make of Jeremy Pruitt's allegations?
I mean, hey, man, go for broke, right? That's the way I look at it. If you can go for broke, go for broke. I mean, I'm not sure he'll walk away with 100 million, but look, you told me that a source told you that Jeremy Pruitt basically said, if I go down, I'm taking the whole university down with me. Didn't he say that?
I don't remember telling you that. Did somebody else on the program tell you that?
Maybe it was somebody else. Someone said, I remember that if I go down, everybody's going down. In particular, Philip Fulmer, he said. But he basically tried to make the point that he's bringing everybody down with him if he goes down. And yeah.
Hot or Cold brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. We get into some of the factors surrounding this lawsuit, and it could get ugly. All right, Hot or Cold brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. You can read about Pruitt, his $100 million buyout, and why I think the NCAA and the Vols should release him from his show cause penalty. So let's start with number one. That is it. Hot or cold? Hot, you agree. Cold, you do not. Jeremy Pruitt should get his show cause lifted. You have to keep in mind that everything that he did, Caleb, is now totally by the book and upheld by the rules of the NCAA. So hot, he should have it lifted. Cold, he should not.
I'm going to say cold, and here's why. Sheer stupidity. I think there needs to be a stupidity clause where, like, even if it's not a rule that it's not a bad violation. This is why I agree with Bruce Pearl's show calls, by the way. You lied about a barbecue where if you didn't lie about it, it would have been a slap on the wrist. Sometimes stupidity is enough for me. I've heard people say this with baseball in the past. There's a debate about steroid users who belong in the Hall of Fame. And someone I know says that he thinks steroid users should go to the Hall of Fame. He said, except for Roger Clemens, because Roger Clemens dared Congress to subpoena him and asked them to force him to take him to trial and put a criminal trial on him. And then when they bring a criminal trial, he refuses to testify. So he should be kept out of the Hall of Fame just for stupidity. And I'm kind of that way with Jeremy Pruitt.
All right, here we go. I've got the old queued up finally. I'm hot. I think that they should. And I actually was going to write this before he sued the university. I was planning on writing that this week. And that is, now everything's legal. I think he was a scapegoat to some extent. I think he got the 6-year show cause, which was too much from the get-go. He didn't get his full buyout. He now can't coach. I mean, I feel bad for the guy. I know he's a little bit of a doofus, but I do. Hot or Cold brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. Over 50 years in East Tennessee. Integrity matters. cityheatandair.com.
Where do you stand? Hot or cold? Brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Integrity matters. 50 years in East Tennessee. cityheatandair.com. On Off the Hook Sports.
All right, what about this? I'm going to split this up. Our next question was originally Tennessee and the NCAA should settle with Jeremy Pruitt. I'm going to switch that up a little bit. Let's go with this. Tennessee should settle with Jeremy Pruitt. Hot or cold? Hot, you agree. Cold, you do not.
I don't think they should. I'm cold. I'm still cold. I think that Tennessee doesn't really owe Jeremy Pruitt anything. They cut bait with him. They parted ways. They handled everything right. What are they going to do? Is the NCAA, given the NCAA's new policies on punishing schools, if Jeremy Pruitt's claims are true that Tennessee was cheating before he got there, which would mean Butch Jones was cheating and Dave Hart was cheating, and John Curry maybe was cheating, the NCAA is not going to put Tennessee on probation now for that. That's not what they do anymore.
Well, maybe not. I'd probably stroke the guy a $10 million check and call it a day. Have him sign an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, and move on, because he does seem like he's got an axe to grind. And I don't blame him for having an axe to grind. The question is, how's the grinding? I mean, was Tennessee really cheating? And you don't want Philip Fulmer drug into this, which Pruitt said in the lawsuit that Fulmer, he told Philip Fulmer, then the athletic director, that there were some payments going on, and Fulmer said, I'll handle it right away. That's pretty troubling, and I don't think you want your all-time greatest football coach drug into this and your own reputation. I think this could be ugly. Now, this is different. The NCAA should settle with Jeremy Pruitt. I'm cold on that. Absolutely not. Because the NCAA can leave Tennessee twisted and don't think that they won't. They will. So Tennessee, I'm red hot,
That's hot.
and they should try to get this done with, settle it, get out of town with an NDA. But the NCAA, nah, I'm not cutting a check. We're close to $100 million.
No, I wouldn't cut a check for close to $100 million. Where I would sue, though, I'm hot on him suing the NCAA, and I'll tell you why. I would sue over the show calls because Tennessee fired him, and you did point this out in your column. Tennessee fired him for calls, so they don't have to pay his buyout. But then the NCAA gives him a show cause where he can't work anyway, and now he's being held back for not being able to work for violations that aren't violations. So ever since 2022, when the when NIL came out, you could say maybe 2022, 2023, I don't know which year, because there's when the NIL came out, and then there's where the NCAA accepted that they won't punish for any recruiting violations. Every year Jeremy Pruitt show calls is up or is in existence after that, he should sue for lost revenue and lost chances to make a salary because of what the NCAA did.
I think that's essentially what he's doing, isn't it?
Well, okay, I don't think he would have made $100 million during that time, but
I wouldn't. I mean, you're going to ask for more than you expect to get. So let's say $3 million a year if he was a defensive coordinator. Is that fair?
Probably,
so that's
okay.
So that's $18 million over the course of 6 years, and then he was going to get about $20 million as a buyout from Tennessee. Is that right?
$38 million, yeah.
So you're getting about halfway, and you want to double it up to try to find a happy medium. I agree with the message board. I think he just wants the show cost dropped. I think this all goes away if you say, hey, you can coach next year. And listen, there's nothing, he may be a doofus, but there's nothing wrong with being a little empathetic. I mean,
no, I agree. I mean, like, I want him coaching, and I actually think that, like, look, players do like him. Players that he's coached do like him. Like,
and then is there any chance that Tennessee would consider hiring him if Tim Banks moves on to a head coaching job? Hot or Cold brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
There's your bear.
Okay. Now, if you want to drop the column in the message board, do so. I have to admit that in some ways, this was a playful little dig at the whole silly process. And that was Tennessee should consider hiring Jeremy Pruitt if Tim Banks ever gets a head coaching job, which he's going to eventually. But the more I think about it, the more
that's hot.
I think they should. He already knows the university. You work this out with the NCAA, let bygones be bygones. You're going to take a risk on another defensive coordinator when you know he's a great one. He could come open next year. Tennessee could have an opening next year. Do you think they would consider it? Should they consider it, Caleb?
Tennessee won't do it themselves because of what's happened and how they really, as he said, made him a sacrificial lamb, I think was the quote. But if
that does feel like that bridge is burned, does it not?
Yeah, it does. That doesn't mean I wouldn't hire him, though. I'm not going to lie.
There's a difference between would and should.
Yeah, I would hire him. The dude knows ball. Guys, and go back and look at Jeremy Pruitt's talent evaluation. And I've already suggested that they should hire him as a GM. You're seeing GMs get hired all over the country. Andrew Luck just fired Stanford's head coach as the Stanford GM. Did you see that?
Yes.
And so, yes, no, I would hire. I would absolutely consider hiring him as an assistant or as a GM or something like that. He is the best talent evaluator Tennessee's ever had as a head coach. I can honestly say that straight up. I don't know if you knew one on Tennessee staff when you covered Tennessee back in the day, Dave. I don't know if there was a member of the Tennessee staff that was just superb at scouting talent, but I mean,
probably Dan Brooks was really good, defensive tackles coach.
Oh yeah, Dan Brooks and Trooper Taylor, right?
He didn't miss on guys. Trooper Taylor I was going to mention him as well. Really, the talent evaluation was all about Phillip. I mean, it came down to Fulmer.
But Phillips seemed to miss on quite a few with his talent evaluation.
Dan
Brooks over Patrick Willis.
Well, yeah, but I mean, as a whole, they certainly missed. You don't mean Dan Brooks. You mean Daniel Brooks? Yeah,
Daniel Brooks. Yeah, sorry, Daniel Brooks. Sorry, Daniel Brooks.
The coach. Yeah, but I mean, he hit on 90.
And then not recruiting Randall Cobb until he was desperate.
Undersized. A lot of other people didn't. The Pat Willis is the big one. I mean, that's the monstrous one throughout his career. But as a whole, I think he did a pretty fantastic job of evaluating talent. And I think that was his ability. I think that was his skill. Now, Dylan says I'd hire him as a scout, but that's about it. Not a big fan of Pruitt, obviously, but what he got, the way Michigan seems to be getting away with stealing signs, I agree. He was just paying players. Pruitt was a good DC under Saban, but he was a mid at Georgia.
That's unfair. Jeremy Pruitt and Mark Richt had completely different philosophies on how players should be coached during that time period, and they really clashed a lot. And by the way, just so you know, when Mark Richt was fired, the players wanted Jeremy Pruitt to stay around.
Yep, here we go. Oh, as a matter of fact, actually, this might be the reason I would never hire him again. He got in some players' heads 2 years ago. Not last year so much, but 2 years ago. One was James Pierce. There was a continued
Jeremy Pruitt?
Yeah, there was a continued contact there. And I can't help but wonder, if you have that ability to get in a young man's ear, you say, oh, well, you can go that 4-point stance. That's pretty awesome. But by the way, those coaches are using you wrong. You can, if you have somebody's ear, you can undermine their bosses. So I've always wondered if that happened. As somebody told me,
you think he was undermining Mark Richt?
I think that no, I don't think he was undermining Mark Richt. I think he was undermining Josh Heupel in Tennessee. I think he had a close connection with Pierce. Then who all was involved in the incident before the the South Carolina game?
Hendon Hooker, Joe Milton, and Jeremy Banks.
Okay, I was told Jeremy Banks, huge Pruitt guy, and that led to not directly, but you had a guy who's a huge Pruitt guy. Exactly what I was told. That ended up causing a huge distraction. So I'm putting two and two together in my head. And what's he telling Jeremy Banks? Is he telling him be the best teammate you can be? Or is he saying you got to look out for yourself and this team's going down the crapper?
Okay, final hot or cold then. Does Pruitt have an axe to grind like a 12-year-old child against Tennessee?
That's hot.
Yes. I don't think the axe to grind with the NCAA is like a 12-year-old child, because I'd be, based off what he did and the way the sport has changed, I'd be damn mad about getting a 6-year show cause. I don't think that's childish. I think not getting the money from Tennessee, if you're still upset about that and the buyout, that's childish.
He's trying to undercut them.
Hold on. You all out broke the rules in your contract. You don't deserve a buyout.
And think about the stupidity of this. You are undercutting Tennessee in a childish, petty way, which is going to hurt your future chances at getting hired by other schools, isn't it? After the show calls is up.
I don't think suing potential employers is a good way to go.
This guy's dumber than I even thought he was.
Yeah, he's probably very malleable. He's probably a guy that somebody could call up, let's say an attorney. I mean, I don't know if the people out there remember on the message board the whole Inky Johnson thing where I interviewed him and he was glad to get interviewed, yet I got suspended for the Alabama game. I had these journalism groups coming out of the woodwork offering $4,500, $10,000, all this money to sue. And I thought to myself, I'm going to be in Knoxville covering Tennessee. Do I really want to be the guy that sued the university? I was close, but I didn't end up doing it.